Listen, the WBC said that you're Devin Haney's mandatory, so you're going to fight him next.
I'm fighting the winner next. I mean, it's depending on if he stay at 135. I'm hearing he gonna go up.
Yeah, Haney said he expects you to activate your mandatory position. So
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? You know, we always hear boxers calling out a champion or maybe one fighter calling out another fighter. But ultimately, it's usually up to that guy who's being called out to accept the challenge, unless the person who's calling you out is your mandatory. Once you become the mandatory, you're in a very powerful position because now you can force the fighter that you're calling out to either fight you or surrender his title. This is how Errol Spence forced the champion, the IBF champion at the time, Kell Brook, in the ring. Kell Brook did not want the Errol Spence fight, but he had no choice but to either defend his title against the mandatory or vacate the belt. Then you have the champions that decided to surrender the belt rather than fight the number one contender, like Canelo Alvarez when Jamal Charlo became his mandatory, and Lomachenko when Devin Haney became his mandatory. So far, since Devin Haney has been the WBC lightweight champion, not one single number one contender in the WBC rankings has contacted the WBC to order a title shot against the champion Devin Haney. At one point, Ryan Garcia was the number one contender. He was Devin Haney's mandatory, and he surrendered the number one spot. And he explained why he surrendered that number one spot when he admitted that he felt Devin Haney was the most difficult challenge out of all of the fighters in the lightweight division. Ryan felt that Teofimo Lopez and Gervonta Tank Davis, or at least Teo when he was undefeated, he felt they would be easier fights than a Devin Haney fight would be.
You always said Devin Haney is going to be your most difficult challenge. Why do you think Tank is going to be easier than Devin?
It's just how I feel, you know. Me and Devin have had a long history in the sport. You know, we've been fighting since the amateurs, and if you watch his fights, of course it's going to be a more difficult fight. He has a longer jab, he's harder to hit, I believe, and you know, he got a good support system, and he has great discipline. So I think he'll be the toughest fight, but I do believe I will still defeat him.
So that definitely explains why, once again, Ryan Garcia, he surrendered his number one spot. Once again, no fighter that has ever become the WBC number one ranked contender has ever attempted to force the champion to either fight or surrender the belt. The question is, will Shakur Stevenson be the first to do it? Matter of fact, now that I think about it, when Shakur Stevenson was Oscar Valdez's number one contender, he was his mandatory. Shakur Stevenson, he forced Oscar Valdez to vacate the title. And Oscar Valdez, he moved up in weight. Instead of making his biggest payday of his entire career, he decided to move up in weight, take smaller paydays for smaller risk. At least until Shakur Stevenson moved up in weight and cornered Oscar Valdez and forced him in the ring. I don't know why Shakur Stevenson hasn't done the same thing when it comes to Devin Haney. Shakur has said on numerous occasions that he wants to fight against Devin Haney next. You guys seen more recently, he even showed up at some type of party or club where he was there with Devin Haney, and he had someone put up a sign telling Devin Haney to sign the contract. But it's far more easier just to contact the WBC and contact Bob Arum. But see, the beauty of the mandatory position is even if Bob Arum, your promoter, doesn't want to do it, then that fight is just going to go to the highest bidder. There would only be two logical reasons why Shakur Stevenson would be reluctant to activate the mandatory position. And that would be either if he's in talks with Gervonta Tank Davis's people and he's negotiating that fight right now, or he's in talks with Lomachenko's people and he's negotiating that fight. Those would be the only two other fights that would make sense if he's not going to activate the mandatory position and fight for all of the belts against Devin Haney. So far, Devin Haney has already sat down with Bob Arum since he beat Lomachenko to talk about potential opponents, but Shakur Stevenson, he hasn't sat down and talked with Top Rank or Bob Arum yet. And I really want to know why. Now, we heard Shakur Stevenson going back and forth with Jermaine Ortiz, which clearly means he has an interest in fighting Jermaine Ortiz. We'll find out if he wants to fight Jermaine Ortiz more than he wants to fight Devin Haney, or even more than he wants to fight for that vacant WBC title. We'll see soon. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Okay.
If he just can't make the weight anymore, is that still really a duck, or is that not fair to him? Like, how do you see it?
I heard him a lot saying that he was going to stay at 135. So that's the only problem that I have with the weight problems.
Why is him being the bigger fighter, the longer fighter? Why? And you know, he's got skills just like you. Why is that not enough?
It's not enough because, like I said, he got to cut all that weight. He look a little bit weak in there. He ain't look too strong. So, whatever he do, he can't fuck with me.
Listen, have you talked to Bob Arum about making this fight? And if so, what did he say?
I ain't really had too much conversation with him tonight, but we gonna talk.
So, what's your thoughts on Bob Arum claiming that a fight with you and Tank will probably lose money?
I ain't got nothing bad to say about Bob. I ain't, you feel me? I'm just staying focused on the main goal.
Based on what you saw these last couple of weeks, who would win, Haney and Davis?
I think y'all know.
No, we don't. No,
I know. I ain't gonna say.
Hey, if you can't get Tank, if you can't
Shakir.
get Tank or Devin, who else will you want next?
Anybody could get it.
Kambosos.
Any one of them could get it. Anybody.
Would you still want to fight Loma, even though he lost?
I think Lomachenko would be a real good fight. Lomachenko look like the old Lomachenko tonight, so I would definitely be down to fight Lomachenko.
Thank you, Shakir.
You ever think it's weird though? Like the American fighter got booed at home. That seems to only happen in the United States. You know,
it's kind of weird, especially being that Devin lived at Vegas most of his life. So it is a little bit weird, but I don't know what's up with the fans.
Did you see any flaws tonight,
China.
Devin? Did you see any flaws? Did you see any flaws in Devin?
Yeah, I saw a lot of flaws.
Can I get a picture?
When you guys used to spar, you said you always used to get the better of them. Like, how so? Were you just sharper, or like how would it play out more times than not?
I feel like I was just a better fighter. I always felt like I was a better fighter. I feel like I'm the best fighter in boxing, and I stand on that. And I ain't just saying something to, for the media or the fans. That's what I actually really believe. So I stand on that.
I know you keep it tight-lipped about any X's and O's talk, but even though he's the bigger guy, are you the better guy in close in the pocket? Like, would you have the edge when he toe-to-toe, so to speak?
I just stood next to him. He's not that much bigger than me. He's not that much bigger than me. Like, I'm right there in size. Lomachenko a lot smaller than him, but I'm right there in size for sure.
Jay, you think we get this fight next, Jay?
Looking forward to it.
Huh?
Looking forward to it.
How's it look with your man Shakur and Devin Haney? Based on what you do?
It's gonna be a beautiful night.
You think the business makes sense right now for it to go down?
We're gonna make it make sense.
Make it make sense. I like that. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Shakur.
Thanks, Shakur.
Dante's Boxing Nation, Dante's Cooking Nation. We are out here. Where are we at?
We're out here in Bangkok.
There you go. She's from Ireland. Matter of fact, introduce yourself to the world.
My name's Hannah and I'm from Ireland and I'm the biggest fan of cooking show.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Biggest fan?
And I'm from Ireland. Sorry.
All the way in Bangkok, Thailand, y'all. I'm
No,
gonna get
in
it right.
Ireland as well.
In Ireland, you hear that? DBN is international,
My
guys.
churros are international.
All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.